Yo, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about why you should never ever neglect follow-up. Now, reason I'm making this video is because I want to make sure you guys know the importance of it, and I also was kind of guilty of making this mistake past couple of days. Like I'm going to be honest, I slacked off a bit. I wasn't hitting my numbers as much, and even follow-ups included, and I kind of got called out by my team, which I'm very grateful for them doing. Because now I've hit the numbers and I'm going to continue to keep doing it. So don't neglect your follow-up. If you're in sales, if you're in appointment setting, you need to follow up. Now, here's the first reason. It's because we're always making incorrect assumptions about the prospect. So what I mean by this is when you get rejected, when you get left unseen, we always automatically assume they don't like us. So when we get left unseen, when we get left on red, we automatically like to assume, like our brains like to assume automatically, they don't like us, we're not the right fit, and we just give up there and then. Now, a lot of things could have happened that made them leave you on red. They might have to pick up kids. Maybe they saw your message but literally just forgot to, and this will happen a lot of times, like they will literally just forget to message you back. I don't know, maybe something came up, maybe they had to do some chores, So they left you on red, but never assume in the first place that it was because of you. You always make incorrect assumptions. Like when you start following up, you'll start to realize that most people aren't doing it on purpose. You'll get messages such as when you follow up and they respond back to you, you're gonna get messages like, "Oh my God, sorry, I got this today. I didn't even press send. Oh my God, I completely forgot." And then they answered my question. So you're gonna get that, and you're slowly gonna realize that it's not because they're doing it intentionally. I think they'll make it very clear if they don't want you messaging them anymore. So stop making incorrect assumptions. Just stop making assumptions in general. And just remember to follow up, whether that's... And the question about follow up, how many times you have to do it, 1 is not enough. 2, I'd say 2 to 5 max. Depends on the industry, depends on your style, depends on a lot of things. But I find 2 to 5 follow-ups max is the sweet spot. Now, know certain companies, they want you to do more, be more persistent. Some of you, maybe not as much, because you don't want to come across as too pushy and annoying. You have to see what works for you. Personally, I like 2 to 5 times. Now, the second thing is why you shouldn't neglect follow-up. It's because you want to look for the no. You want to train your brain to look for the no. When we are appointment setting, when we are taking shots, basically, when we are taking shots at life in general or in business, just trying something new out and with the possibility of getting rejected, then we usually don't like that feeling. But you're going to train your brain to actually like that feeling, to seek it out, to actively look for the discomfort, look for the no. Now, the reason why you want to look for the no is so important is because it saves both of you time. If they say no, they're not interested in the first message, compared to another person who gives a wishy-washy answer, and you've wasted 2 to 3 weeks on this prospect, whereas this prospect just said no off the gate and only took about 2 days. They've actually done you a service. They've saved you a bunch of time. Whereas the other prospect who's being wishy-washy, who's leaving you on red, who's not telling you a clear answer as to whether they want to move forward or not, just an example, they're wasting a bunch of time. And you probably shouldn't be focusing on that prospect anyway. So what follow-up allows you to do is to start training yourself to look for the no and to look for clear, concise answers as to where they stand. Because you have time, and your time is very valuable, and you don't want to be spending it watering the wrong plants, so to speak. You don't want to spend that time watering bad prospects. So the third thing is you don't know how much you're leaving on the table by not doing this. So prior to making this video, a couple months back, even a year ago today, I wasn't a big believer in follow-up. I automatically made the assumption that it just annoys people, it's unnecessary, I don't need to do it. But then when I started doing it, that's when I realized, and this is something that you're going to realize along the way. If you're not doing it yet, then yeah, you're going to find out sooner or later. But if you are doing it, are you sure you're doing it enough? And if you aren't, then do more follow-up. If you are, then kudos to you. The amount of times that people have come back and responded, or even hopped on a call, or even closed for a sales call, the amount of times this has happened just because I followed up with them. That's going to happen a lot. So respect the follow-up game. Come up with your couple messages. Like, let me just give you some ground rules when you follow up. First things first is make sure each follow-up is spaced out longer in between one another. So space out each longer than the last one. What I mean by this is, in the first follow-up message, maybe you send it after 24 hours. The second follow-up message you send after 2 to 3 days. The third follow-up you send 3 to 5 days or even a week. So you get the point. Make sure you space them out longer than the last one so it doesn't annoy them, but you're still following up with them. You're still doing the job. So the second thing is, I don't think there is a right or wrong way to follow up. So you could do things like even just saying their name, like asking if they're still there. You got to see what works for you. So you can do that. You just do that. That's my favorite. Just an arrow pointing to the last message. Say just bumping this up. So it's not one size fits all. You could very well copy someone else's follow-up sequence. That's fine, but you got to see what works for you. And then the last thing with follow-ups is you want to get increasingly more, what's the word? You want to get increasingly more direct with them. So what your first follow-up is going to look like will be very different to what the last follow-up message you'll send will look like. The last follow-up message you send is probably going to lead to some sort of ultimatum. It's probably going to be along the lines of, hey, been trying to bump this up for a couple times. I'm just going to assume you're not interested. If you are, get back to me, but if not, totally fine. And then the first follow-up will probably just be way more general. Could just be a question mark, could be just bumping this up, you know? Because again, it goes back to the concept of saving time and not wasting it for either party. You want to make sure that they tell you where they stand, if you can. But if they don't, then you're wasting time. Both of you are wasting time. You know, it's doing no one a disservice. So as you get more and more follow-ups, you want to be spending more time with other prospects, but at the same time, the people who you have to follow up a couple times more with, you have to get them to just tell you a straight answer. So you save more time and you save more energy. You can focus that energy on prospects that actually will close and are qualified. So the original point is to not neglect follow-up. If you're a non-follow-up believer, then I suggest, like I was as well. Remember, I said I was a non-follow-up believer. I thought it was just annoying. You need to just stop making assumptions about the prospect. A lot of life can get in the way. For you too, you're guilty of it. So you're no different. But don't neglect follow-up. Hope you like this video. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.